There is a tendency in man to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, to believe that if he does not struggle, if he does not fight, if he does not push forward with all his might, then nothing will change. He looks at his circumstances and assumes that the burden is his to bear alone, and so he worries. He worries about tomorrow, about how things will unfold, about whether his needs will be met. He looks at the obstacles in his path and asks, "How will I ever get through this?" But he does not yet understand that he was never meant to figure it all out on his own. Man believes that by worrying he is somehow influencing the outcome, that by thinking endlessly about his problems he is solving them. He assumes that if he does not dwell upon the difficulty, if he does not keep it at the center of his mind, then it will grow worse. But this is an illusion. Worry does nothing but drain him, exhaust him, and keep him locked in the very state he wishes to escape. He does not realize that the moment he lets go, the moment he surrenders his need to control, the answer begins to appear, not through struggle, but through alignment. Life does not respond to force. It does not respond to desperation. The more one pushes, the more resistance he creates. He asks, "Why is my problem not being solved? Why do things not work out for me?" And yet he does not see that it is his very state of worry that is blocking the solution. He believes he is thinking his way toward resolution, but in truth he is only keeping himself tangled in the problem. He looks outward, expecting the world to change before he feels at peace, not understanding that peace must come first. The moment he chooses stillness, the moment he decides to trust that all is working in his favor, something remarkable happens. The weight that once seemed unbearable begins to lift. The circumstances that once appeared impossible begin to shift. Not because he has forced change, not because he has figured everything out, but because he has stepped into the flow of what was always working for him. He no longer resists. And in that lack of resistance, the path is revealed. Everything is already in motion. The answers he seeks are already on their way. The doors he thought were closed forever were never locked. It was only his worry that kept him from seeing the key in his own hand. But man, conditioned by fear, believes that surrender means failure. He believes that if he does not work endlessly, if he does not stress over his situation, then he is being irresponsible. He has been taught that worry is a sign of care, that anxiety is proof of effort. But this is not the way life works. The one who trusts moves through life with ease. He does not struggle, nor does he chase. He does not live in the illusion of lack, for he knows that all is already his. The same power that governs the stars, that moves the seasons, that ensures the tides rise and fall in perfect rhythm, that same power is working in his life. It is not distant, it is not silent, it is not indifferent to his needs. But he must step into alignment with it. He must recognize that there is no need to fight against what is unfolding, for all things are happening in divine order. The timing is perfect, the circumstances are perfect. Even what he calls obstacles are only stepping stones leading him to where he is meant to be. There is no reason to fear. The problem that seems so overwhelming today is already resolving itself. The moment he shifts his focus, the moment he releases the weight of worry and chooses faith, he will see the movement he has been waiting for. The answer may not come in the way he expects, but it will come in the way that is best. The situation may not unfold according to his limited understanding, but it will unfold according to perfect wisdom. He must train himself to let go, to stop feeding the illusion of struggle, to stop assuming that difficulty means he is alone. He is not alone. He has never been alone. The forces that guide all things are guiding him now, orchestrating events, aligning people, moving circumstances in ways he cannot yet see. And when the moment is right, it will all become clear. He will see that there was never anything to fear, that the burden he carried for so long was never his to carry, that the only thing standing between him and the resolution he sought was his own unwillingness to trust. What he desires is already his. The problem has already been solved. The path has already been cleared. He only needs to step into the knowing that all is well, that all is working in his favor, that there is nothing in his life that is out of place. And when he does, when he truly believes this, he will see evidence of it everywhere. The doors will open effortlessly. The answers will arrive with ease, and he will look back and wonder why he ever worried at all. Man looks at his circumstances and sees only what his senses reveal. He believes in what is seen, in what appears real before him, and because of this, he assumes that if things do not seem to be moving, then nothing is happening at all. He paces back and forth in his mind, questioning, doubting, and fearing that the things he desires may never come. He does not yet understand that the plan is already in motion, that the very things he believes are obstacles are in fact the bridges leading him exactly where he needs to go. If he could see beyond what his eyes reveal, if he could trust in what is unseen, he would never again waste a moment in every event in his life. Every experience, every closed door, every delay is working in harmony with something far greater than he can comprehend. The things he calls setbacks are not setbacks at all. They are necessary shifts, necessary redirections, aligning him with the highest and best version of his life. But man does not yet see this, so he fights against the unfolding of things. He calls it misfortune when something does not go his way. He calls it failure when an attempt does not yield the result he expected. He does not yet know that what he calls failure is often the greatest blessing, that what he calls misfortune is often the very thing that will bring him into a life beyond anything he imagined. There is no mistake in how life unfolds. No step is wasted. The delay he resents, the challenge he wishes away, is not an obstacle, it is part of the path. He asks, why is this happening to me? Why must I struggle? Why must I wait? But he does not realize that all things are happening in the order they must. If he could see the greater picture, if he could understand that timing is never wrong, he would release his worry and move through life with ease. The answers he seeks are already forming. The opportunities he desires are already being prepared. And what appears to be stillness is not stillness at all. It is only the unseen movement of something greater at work. He must let go of the need to force things into being. He must release the belief that if something is not happening now, then it will not happen at all. That which is meant for him will not pass him by. That which belongs to him is already his. There is no need to chase, no need to struggle, no need to question whether the plan is working, for it has never stopped working. Every experience, every shift, every change that seemed unexpected was part of the design all along. But man is afraid to trust. He is afraid to believe that things are working in his favor when the evidence is not yet before him. He clings to fear because it is familiar. He holds on to doubt because he does not yet know the power within him, the power that calls all things into being at the appointed time. The moment he lets go, the moment he stops trying to control every detail, he will see how effortlessly life moves. The things he struggled for will come with ease. The solutions he could not find will present themselves without effort, and he will realize that there was never any need to worry. There is no problem too great, no situation too complicated, no challenge beyond resolution. The same force that governs all things is the same force orchestrating his life. It is not indifferent to his needs. It is not unaware of his desires. It knows what must be done and when it must be done. And the moment he aligns himself with this truth, the moment he stops resisting and begins to trust, he will see evidence of it everywhere. And every delay has been necessary. Every challenge has been preparing him. He will look back and see that what once seemed like difficulty was actually grace. What once felt like failure was actually guidance. What once seemed like unanswered prayers were answered in ways beyond his limited understanding. He was never lost. He was never forgotten. The way was always being made clear even when he could not see it. And so he has a choice. He can continue to fight against what is already unfolding, or he can surrender to the knowing that everything is already working in his favor. He can continue to question whether his life is on the right track, or he can believe without a shadow of a doubt that there has never been a moment when the plan was not perfect. He can live in fear, doubting every shift, resisting every change, or he can step into the absolute certainty that all is well. The moment he chooses trust over fear, the moment he stops seeing obstacles and starts recognizing divine alignment, everything changes. The doors open, the opportunities appear, and he realizes that what he spent so long worrying about was never a problem at all. It was only life rearranging itself to bring him exactly where he was always meant to be. Man walks through life burdened by fear, believing that he must fight for every inch, struggle for every blessing, and worry over every outcome. He looks at his circumstances and assumes they are against him, that he is at the mercy of forces beyond his control, and that unless he figures it all out, nothing will change. He believes that he is alone in his struggles, that the weight he carries must remain upon his shoulders, and that unless he strives with all his might, the desires of his heart will remain distant. But this is not the truth. There is a power greater than his understanding, a force moving all things into perfect order, ensuring that every need is met, every challenge is resolved, and every so-called delay is nothing more than a realignment to something far greater. But he does not yet trust this truth. So he clings to fear, he clings to worry, he clings to the illusion that he must do it all alone. And in doing so, he resists the very thing that is trying to bless him. He does not see that his worry does not move mountains, it only builds them. His fear does not clear the path, it only blinds him to the road that has already been made. If he could understand that the plan is already in motion, that the things he calls obstacles are actually stepping stones, that the very circumstances he resents are guiding him towards something beyond his imagination, he would never again waste a moment in doubt. The same force that governs the tides, that causes the stars to burn in their brilliance, that orchestrates the infinite movement of life itself, is the same force working within him, through him, and for him. But he cannot see it while he is consumed by fear. He cannot recognize it while he is fixated on worry. The moment he releases control, the moment he surrenders the idea that he must force his way through life, he steps into the flow of divine order. And in that flow, all things are made right. But man is impatient. He wants results now. He looks at his life and says, if things are working out, why don't I see it? If all is well, why does my situation remain the same? And in asking these questions, he reveals his lack of trust. He does not realize that everything is happening in perfect timing, that what he calls waiting is not waiting at all. It is preparation, that what he calls unanswered prayers are answered in ways beyond his comprehension. If he were to receive everything he asked for, in the moment he demanded it, he would not be ready to hold it. The waiting is not a punishment, it is a refinement. It is the assurance that when the blessing arrives, it will not slip through his fingers. There is no mistake in the timing of things. What is his will come, what is not his will leave. And in both cases, he is being protected. But man, in his limited sight, clings to what is leaving and chases what is not meant for him. He fights the unfolding of his own path because he does not yet believe that everything is already working in his favor. The moment he stops resisting, the moment he stops grasping at things that are not his, the way will open. And when it does, he will look back and see that everything made perfect sense. He has nothing to fear. No problem is beyond resolution. No obstacle is greater than the power that moves within him. The same force that set all things into motion is the same force ensuring that he lacks for nothing. If he would but trust, if he would but surrender, if he would but release his desperate need to control, he would see how effortlessly life moves in his favor. The struggle is not in his circumstances. The struggle is in his refusal to believe that all is already well. So he has a choice. He can continue to hold on to fear, to live in the illusion of lack, to question whether life is on his side, or he can step into the knowing that all things are being arranged for his highest good. He can live in the certainty that no challenge is permanent, that no difficulty is without purpose, that no unanswered prayer is truly unanswered. He can surrender his fear and watch as his life unfolds in ways he never imagined. The moment he makes this shift, the moment he releases his worry and embraces trust, the evidence will appear, the doors will open, the path will clear, the opportunities will arrive, and he will finally understand that he was never lost, never forgotten, never alone, that all things, every experience, every delay, every change, were always guiding him toward something far greater than he had ever dared to dream. Man walks through life believing that some problems are too great, that some circumstances are beyond repair, that there are forces working against him that he cannot overcome. He looks at his situation and feels trapped, convinced that no solution exists. He struggles, he fears, and he wonders if there is any hope at all. But he does not yet see the truth. He does not yet understand that nothing is too big, nothing is too broken, and nothing is beyond the reach of the infinite power that moves all things into perfect alignment. He does not yet know that the very thing he calls impossible has already been resolved, that the answer already exists, and that the moment he steps into the certainty of this truth, he will see the evidence unfold before him. The mistake man makes is in believing that his circumstances are fixed, that what he sees with his eyes is the ultimate reality. He does not yet realize that everything is in motion, that nothing is as it appears, and that what seems like an immovable obstacle today is already shifting beneath the surface. He assumes that because he cannot see a way out, there is no way out. But this is an illusion. There is no problem beyond resolution, no situation beyond restoration, and no challenge greater than the power that governs all things. The same force that keeps the stars in their courses, that brings the tide in and out with perfect rhythm, is the same force working in his life. There is no struggle in the movement of the heavens. There is no effort in the turning of the seasons. All things flow effortlessly in their perfect order, and his life is no different. He has been conditioned to believe that he must fix everything himself, that he must strive and struggle to find the solution, that he must carry the weight of his problems on his own shoulders. He has been taught that effort is necessary, that worry is proof of responsibility, that if he does not dwell upon his troubles, they will not be resolved. But this is not the way things work. The moment he releases the need to control, the moment he surrenders the idea that he must have all the answers appear. The moment he lets go of resistance, the way is made clear, not through struggle, but through alignment, not through force, but through trust. He wonders why the solution does not come, why his prayers seem unanswered, why the weight remains upon him, but he does not yet see that it is his own fear that holds the problem in place. He believes more in the problem than in the power that resolves it. He gives his energy to worry instead of faith. He feeds the illusion of difficulty instead of stepping into the reality of effortless unfolding. The one who knows the truth does not fear, for he understands that all things are already handled. The one who trusts does not struggle, for he recognizes that the answer is already his. What seems impossible is not impossible at all. What seems like an unmovable mountain is already being lifted. The circumstances that appear unchangeable are shifting in ways unseen. The very thing he believes is blocking him is the thing that will bring him exactly where he is meant to be. If he could see the full picture, if he could understand the perfection of the plan, he would never again doubt, never again fear, never again waste a moment in worry. He would move through life with ease, knowing that every detail is already taken care of. And there is no problem too big, no mistake too great, no situation beyond redemption. That which appears broken can be made whole. That which appears lost can be restored. That which appears hopeless is only an illusion. If he were to step into the full awareness of who he truly is, if he were to align himself with the infinite power that governs all things, he would see the proof of it everywhere. The doors that seemed closed would swing open. The opportunities that seemed lost would return. The path that seemed uncertain would be made clear. And he would finally understand that he was never alone, never abandoned, never left to struggle without hope. The very thing he fears has no real power. The struggle he perceives is only the result of his own doubt. The moment he shifts, the moment he chooses trust over fear, the entire world shifts with him. The doors that were once hidden reveal themselves. The resources that seemed absent appear in abundance. The help he thought would never come arrives in ways he never expected. And he looks back in amazement, wondering why he ever doubted, why he ever feared, why he ever believed that there was anything too great to be resolved. The way has always been clear. The path has always been prepared. The answer has always existed. It is not the circumstances that need to change, but his perception of them. The moment he sees with new eyes, the moment he understands that nothing is too big, that nothing is beyond resolution, that nothing is ever truly lost, his entire world transforms. He steps into the knowing that all things are working for his good, that every challenge has a purpose, that every delay is a divine arrangement, that every closed door is leading him to something far greater than he could have imagined. And when he finally understands this, when he finally embraces the truth that no problem is too big for the power that governs all things, he is free. Free from worry, free from doubt, free from the illusion of struggle. He moves through life with confidence, knowing that every step is guided, every need is met, every prayer is already answered. He no longer asks, will this work out? For he knows that it already has. He no longer questions, is there a way? For he sees that the way has always been prepared. And in that knowing, he finds peace. In that trust, he finds freedom. In that surrender, he finds the effortless unfolding of a life beyond anything he ever dreamed. The moment man understands that he was never meant to struggle, never meant to carry the weight of his worries alone, his entire world shifts. He no longer fights against life, no longer begs for solutions, no longer wonders if things will work out. He steps into the knowing that all things are already in motion for his highest good, that every challenge is a doorway, every delay a preparation, every unanswered prayer an answer in disguise. He stops looking at appearances and begins to trust in the unseen. He no longer asks, when will things change? For he knows they already have. He walks with certainty, knowing that no problem is beyond resolution, no obstacle too great, no path truly blocked. And in that trust, in that surrender, he finds peace, not because his circumstances have changed, but because he has.